installation of a mod shop. Summer Mod Mania.
Yeah, we were talking on the podcast about what are we gonna call this, like modathon, but that like sounded too close to Guitar Center, or whatever. So we're not gonna necessarily do that, but we are here talking about our next mod, which is the Harley Benton. Every time we talk about this guitar, we don't research the name of it. Here it is. You can hold it because I'm holding the pickups that we're gonna put in there. It is nice
dark
that familiar shaped carved top with P90's. Let's just say.
Oh, it's the CST24 Deluxe.
CST 24 Deluxe.
We
should have just looked on the back of the headset. We made like 3 videos and never actually looked back there.
Never looked back. Okay.
But we teased this guitar in our Strat style Harley Benton a ways back in a video that we just kind of talked about the general features. This one has a little bit of rough edges on the frets and needs some extra work, but we're gonna try to make it sound different right off the bat. We're gonna just mod it with these bad boys, which is our Ricochet, like that. I'm trying to look at the camera.
That's
the Ricochet P90's. So these are actually not P90's, they're more like just a straight single coil with rod magnets, this very cool open raw nickel cover. These are going to bring some chime back to this guitar. I would say it's a little bit muddy as stock. We'll probably share some really quick sounds of how it sounds before we put the pickups in. I know that some people have offered feedback on, I want to hear before and after. Just know with this one, we're definitely trying to go completely different. So this may be a sound that you're not wanting out of a guitar like this. Maybe you want the strength and power of P90's, but maybe you want to clean it up. That's what these are for.
Yeah. Definitely.
So anything that you're excited about kind of with this change? I mean, I think we're going to kind of show you some of the basics of the swap, but anything kind of you're looking forward to on that?
Yeah, I mean, I really like the sound of those, like in the middle position. They do a really nice thing, and you know, it's just a good all-around combination.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it should looking like it should be pretty straightforward, but you know, we'll just get it going and get some tones.
That's what we thought on the last video, right?
Yeah.
We'll show you. We can get this guitar on the bench. We're going to show you just a little bit of the in and out. If you're swapping P90's, typically you're going to have those 2 center mounting screws. There's going to be a spring or some kind of foam cushion behind those. So we'll see what they've put underneath those, and we'll probably just try to reuse everything. Typically your hole spacing is going to work out, and these ones have holes right there for that. So we'll get these over to the bench and we'll put them in. But before we do that, let's go ahead and take a listen to how this guitar sounds as stock.
Let's do it. We've got the back plates off. We're in this mod of this Harley Benton guitar here. We're gonna put these raw I'm sorry, we were saying H90 earlier.
Yes.
These are Ricochet P90's in here in raw. But we got the cavity open and they very nicely bundled a little twist tie in there for us. So I'm just gonna snip that for now, because it looks like it is the pickup leads that go into the switch.
So when we're doing this, we're basically looking for, if you're opening up your guitar for the first time, you're looking for kind of where the pickups go, right? A lot of times we'll say like take a cell phone picture of where the pickups go to make sure that you're putting them back in the same spot. And I don't know what your approach is typically. You have better memory than I do in terms of where stuff goes,
but I always take a picture too. It's a good idea, and even just to figure out where everything is, right?
Yeah. So I will switch off the camera here and get a little bit of a close-up shot so people can see the guts of this guitar.
I will take a picture as well for my.
All right, so here's a look inside the cavity of the Harley Benton. We're going to unsolder the old pickups and then we'll get them out.
Yeah, on first glance, it looks like this is going to be the neck and this is going to be the bridge. Just you can see this is coming down from the lower cavity or the lower hole, and then there's an upper hole. And usually that's a good indicator, so you can mark them. But normally I'll just kind of snip these for now, or I might just unsolder them. And then usually the grounds will actually be better to snip, I think.
And if you're working on a, shall we say, more expensive version of this guitar,
yes,
maybe you want to put some cloth down, or we will make a little hole in paper towels to protect the finish. But we are not worried about.
Our
I
demo.
think this guitar was $189 or something like that. So I think we're okay if we get a little solder spill on it or something like that. It's relic at that point, right?
Yes, it's custom. No, but we will be super careful. And it looks like that's the only thing we'll actually have to remove. Yeah, make a note of which one was versus the other.
So those have a 2 conductor, and then we're basically going to the hot of the toggle switch, and then there's a ground wire that's going to the ground area, which is kind of, I believe, kind of off under the end here, right?
Yeah, and I even left a little nub in that we can even solder to.
Cool.
If we want to.
So dealing with a 3-way toggle, just keep that in mind as you're going through there. Well, let's get the pickups out.
Cool, the fun part.
Now I'm going to move this camera back out.
Cool.
Again, we're keeping these super low budget, kind of showing you removal of everything. So we'll get these pickups out and we'll be right back.
All right, took the tension off the strings. Not going to worry too much about any of that stuff right now. I just want to get the pickups out of here. And then normally you'll have to get the bridge pickup out to get the neck pickup out fully, or vice versa. One of the two, because depending on the route. But I at least like to get the screws out of both of them.
And obviously we left the plastic on these pickups as well. So
Yes.
if you're doing this, you've probably removed the plastic before. But simply, you're just going to turn the screws to the left to adjust the height of the P90, but it also removes the screws completely. And there they are.
And as we suspected, the bridge is the white wire. And you can see the little foam in there.
Yeah, so in this case, they're using that foam as like a spring mount to adjust that pickup height however you want.
And then we'll set that in there. Well, but luckily these have the individual routes for each.
Yeah, that's way easier. Sometimes, like you were mentioning, right, the wire's going to go through here and into there, and it gets to be a bit of a mess. So it's actually a fairly
nice way to do it.
yeah. So in there, it looks like you got to like pull up the foam a little bit. I'll just move the camera.
Yeah,
Very
you can kind of see that. And this one's being nice. Sometimes you have to reach around and get the little pigtail and then pull it through. But
and it almost looks like they drilled that hole before they set the neck.
yeah,
I
it
can't
does.
quite tell, but it does look like maybe that's what's happening. Ready to place our first Ricochet.
Ready to place the first Ricochet. I hope I'm not getting the wire in the way. Okay, perfect.
So we're reversing the process here, getting those screws back in. Everything should line up in theory. One thing you do, we don't have this problem thankfully here as a surprise, but sometimes the radius corners of the P90s are going to be a little different between guitars, so you may have to modify this part. But in our case,
It's so good.
looks like we're in business.
Just
That
kind of
looks
a nice
awesome in there.
arbitrary height. Cool. I see that one just slid right through.
So as far as a soap bar install, these have gone in very nicely. You may consider also buying new screws, because at times you can strip the heads out of those screws very easily. Make sure you have a nice screwdriver. You've kind of got your little favorite screwdriver there.
Yeah.
That's the trusty.
It's been with me forever.
Yes, it's just old reliable, old faithful.
Yes.
Whatever the word is. But that is looking good. I like the choice. We were debating this morning about raw nickel versus chrome or whatever, but we are very partial to raw nickel in general.
It's the best.
It sounds better.
It sounds better.
Yeah, exactly.
More sustain.
Yeah, sure. All right, so there they are.
That
Ricochet
works.
P90's installed. Let me zoom in on those bad boys. We're ready to flip it over, check the back out, re-solder those connections, and we'll be rocking soon. All right, we got the guitar over here. We're going a little backwards. We don't necessarily recommend this unless you have a way to test the pickups, but we've tested the pickups with the multimeter. We're actually going to put the strings on first, then flip it over and put the pickups in, because we know the guys that made them, and we know that they work. So that's what we're doing here. We're doing this backwards, but the beauty of that is once they get installed, then we can start rocking this thing as soon as possible. So we'll flip it over and we'll be right back. All right, over here at the cavity, we have everything ready. Marco, what's our next steps from here?
Next step, identify which pickup is which. Remember we marked this one. I put a little piece of orange tape on the neck pickup. And then this is our bridge pickup. You can trim these and do all sorts of fun stuff. I like to keep them, like I can take these out and put them in something else, maybe that needs a lot longer leads. So I'll just make do with these right here. But you'll see that these have a bare wire, and then it's wrapped around the black wire, and then that'll be our ground, and then the white is going to be our output or our hot. And then we're just going to put that into the switch right there. I took the picture and I remembered that the bridge was the one on this bottom lug here. So that'll be this one, and then so we'll put the neck here, and both of these will get these grounds twisted together and soldered, and then we'll solder those to the grounds. And we'll put the whites on the little lugs there of the switch. So, and for that, actually, I'm just kind of doing some ergonomic wire path management.
Pseudo shortening the length, right?
Yeah,
And I like what you mentioned about leaving the leads long, because if you do mess something up, you have room to trim them back. Some people will cut them to length and then realize, oh, I actually wanted it here. Or maybe I want to add a push bowl, like not in the case of these, but if you wanted to add a push bowl, you would need extra length to do that anyways. So that's a good reminder that you mentioned.
But to each their own, and yeah, this guitar might have a lot of pickups, or we might put these pickups in something else. So there's lots of stuff that I like to do, or that I like to do about this way. So, and I might just reflow some fresh solder on the switch there.
And we're testing your skills by making you solder in like an uncomfortable position, so everyone can see what's happening.
Normally I have like all of the lights too, so
yeah,
this is a little different. But
and we've turned our sort of bench light here up. You can still kind of see some reflections, but basically so that there's not this halo right in this area.
yeah, so we'll see here. So I'm just using some tweezers to grab just where the insulation ends, so that it kind of acts like a heat shrink. And then I don't necessarily melt the insulation with my soldering iron. That's just something that I found is very nice. Helps it look nice.
So in general, are you wanting to do the hots or the grounds first, or do you just kind of take that case by case?
Case by case, and just with the layout of this switch, and that it's kind of queuing up my ground to be soldered to the grounds here, it just kind of made sense. Typically, I'll usually do grounds first, but I'll have to you know, always case by case for sure. And it looks like these are going to be just right.
So tweezers are also good in the fact that if you slip, you're not burning your finger. So I
Yeah.
think we've all done that a few times of just kind of singeing your fingers, so keeping the really good tweezers too. I mean, I think that's important to remember is the nicest tweezers that you can find. Make sure you're gripping these small wires that are coming off the pickups.
And sometimes if you just use your hands, you'll kind of like think that, okay, it's set, but and then you'll move your hands because you get hot, and then it hasn't quite fully cured, I guess, or set. This looks like the bridge ground here.
So then you can kind of see there, just to the right in the cavity, you can see the two white wires, which are hot wires to either side of the switch. And those are now hooked up to the lugs.
And now I left these pretty long, so I'm gonna just kind of try and use these as like a little jumper onto the grounds, and hopefully that'll get us home. But and these are tinned. If they're not tinned, you can twist them together, but you have to be careful if you twist them, because sometimes you'll just shred the wire, and then you won't have an actual connection, and then you'll get some buzz. That's not gonna work. There we go. We'll just go for it. I am tinning off of the guitar, because that is the stuff that makes the solder fly absolutely everywhere.
So for those who may be brand new in the soldering world, what does tinning mean?
So that just means we kind of coat our iron with some solder just to kind of help get the heat flowing. It's all about heat, I think, and you want to just get the heat, the right amount of heat in the right spot really quickly so you're not burning components. And I'm no means an expert or anything like that. I just do it often, but it seems to me that I have more success when the iron is clean and then it is tipped. It just seems to conduct the heat better, so you don't have to put a bunch of heat or leave your iron on your potentiometer for very long and then risk having to replace it. Oh, and this might not be long enough. Oh.
So now we're taking the ground from the other pickup and trying to get it over to the same location. Typically your grounds are going to go, on several guitars, are going to go kind of to the same spot. In this case, the grounding lug of this three-way toggle, but it may be to the back of a volume pot. Typically, like on a Strat or a Tele, all of the pickup grounds will be in one spot.
Well, oh, one just came undone. Almost had it.
So we will get this ground tied up, and then we'll be back over to the studio to take a listen to this guitar. Well, we got through it. We made it happen with the install. There was, right before there was just a little bit of sound of these Ricochet P90's. Now let's kind of give a quick, I mean, you heard this when we heard this. I mean, this was the first, we didn't even play this before we started. So what do you think about the differences or the change that happened when we put these in?
Well, I think we got a considerable amount of like a chime back into the signal, and I plugged it in and I was like, oh, sounds like a Tele bridge pickup. And I was like, lit my face up a little bit. So, And
I think I saw a little tear coming down.
Maybe I might play this guitar a little bit more now.
Yeah.
But there's like even like a telebridge quality a little bit to the neck pickup too. But then when you start to use the tone, which we didn't really like showcase, which maybe we could do another video or something
we'll
showcasing
definitely do another one.
because there's a lot of a range in the tone, and this pickup really encourages you to, I think, kind of find your tone, your tone sweet spot with the knob, and especially when you're really trying to do like a jazzier thing.
Right.
But I really love the sound of like a trebly pickup with like the tone rolled down once you know what value of capacitor you like and all that fun stuff, and then you still get the hum canceling in the middle positions, and it's such like you get the lows and the highs, and they're super like present. They're super snappy and I kind of tight, I would say.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting sound, and then the bridge, tele bridge pickup.
It almost does that twang thing. You're totally right.
Yeah.
I think that just kind of overall, my first impression is just literally sitting kind of in the same room as you started to play that kind of same riff that we did earlier. Just that overall, just the high end kind of came back, and the clarity, and it's not as squishy sounding. It definitely cuts through, but it didn't come across to me as harsh as well. So it really feels like it balances this guitar a lot better.
Yeah, I would say so, and it's a super versatile thing, and especially for recording and layering and all sorts of stuff, and usually end up mixing out a lot of the low mids of guitar anyway. So
yeah,
it's a really unique flavor, and I think that this worked out pretty well as far as installs go. There wasn't anything crazy.
I'm really thankful for that. And we usually like have this time blocked out to make these videos, and sometimes the installs are such a pain to like kind of go through. If you have any questions about the installation or how to do it, put those in the comments there below. Don't forget to like and subscribe on this video. Thanks for watching our summer mod series as we continue to hack away at different guitars in the shop and everything that comes in. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much again. We will catch you on the next one.
Yes, to the next mod section.
Yes, here we go.